Hello and welcome to the Etch Play Weekly Live Show. I am Taya and I'm joined today by the wonderful Dan. Say hello, Dan.
Hello, how are we doing, Taya?
All good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. I'm in a field, as
I
people might
know.
better recognise, which is the modern world of remote work.
It's all very exciting. It looks like you have an amazing view, and I'm a little bit jealous that I'm in a city in lots of cars around me. So not quite as nice, but you know, we can live vicariously through you and your amazing remote working.
Thank you. Yes, that's very nice.
Lovely. Well, today we've got an exciting show for you. We're going to start with some of the latest gaming news for you in just a second, and then we'll all watch Ben Joy become a bee and go on some bee adventures, which is not a sentence I thought I'd ever say, but it is happening, which is very exciting. And after that, please join me and Dan as we have a chat about events and how to use them to market your game. Should you use them? How do you use them? Which ones should you go for? All this and more will be answered very shortly. So without further ado, shall we look at some news?
Let's.
Excellent. Cool. First things first, and I think most of you are aware, this week is not E3. Mixed feelings about that, but the long-running event has skipped out on a physical event for the third year running, raising questions for many about the event's future after seemingly struggling through the pandemic. However, that has not stopped the rest of the games industry utilizing the hype window, and this week, which was traditionally earmarked for E3, has been busy with announcements and features from several games organizations, including the Summerfest, which is kicking off this evening, including the Indie Showcase Day of the Devs. Tomorrow, IGN are hosting their IGN Expo, just before Netflix getting in on the act with their own Geeked Week Gaming Showcase. On Saturday is the indie-centric Guerrilla Collective for its third year alongside Wholesome Games Direct and Future Game Show, leaving Sunday for the popular PC Gaming Show. And if that wasn't enough, on top of all that, there are publisher-specific events happening from Sega, Xbox and Bethesda, Devolver, Limited Run Games, and Capcom. So quite a lot for us to keep on top of. But don't worry, rest assured, the Etch Play team will have you covered and we'll have all the big announcements and our hot takes for you on next week's show. Dan, are you excited for not E3 week?
I am. Yeah, it's kind of interesting that it feels like the same excitement and buzz, and we're going to get announcements, we're going to get lots of content. It feels sad to say it, but maybe it didn't need E3. It just needed this window for everybody. I'm really looking forward to it. There's been a few things trickling through already, but yeah, tonight's the main one with the Summer Games Fest. Excited to see what we learn.
Yeah, is there any specific one that you're looking forward to the most, apart from the Summer Games Fest?
I'm interested to see if we will get any big announcements, because there isn't a big show, but there's lots going on. As we've just identified, there's a bunch of publishers starting to do their own thing. So are they going to leave their announcements for their own efforts? Are they going to put them in the Game Fest? I'm interested to kind of register how high on the hype Richter scale anything that gets announced this week registers, or is we just kind of is the big reveals? Is the time of the big reveal past? So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to discovering.
For sure. I think it's great. It's so great to see that it hasn't stopped everyone getting really excited about games. You know, this time of year is almost my favorite because it's my birthday, and usually on my birthday I'll watch all the E3 fun, and I don't have to miss out. Yeah, either way, I'm really looking forward to the Guerrilla Collective and the Wholesome Games Direct. Last year they were amazing. And the PC Gaming Show. I'm not so much of a console gamer, but I'm hoping for some exciting things being shown for PC. So that would be very interesting. In other news, we have Prince of Persia, one of the games I played when I was very young. No slight on you, Dan. If you were playing games in the early 2000s like me and like Dan, then you will likely have some good memories about Prince of Persia. A remake of the classic The Sands of Time from 2003 has been in production for quite some time, originally announced in 2020 and slated to release in 2021. Unfortunately for fans, however, the game has been delayed 3 times so far, with one of those delays seeing the project being moved to the game's original developers, Ubisoft Montreal. Last week, the game has reportedly been delisted from multiple retailers, leading many to speculate whether it has been cancelled. So far, that doesn't seem to be the case, as Ubisoft have told IGN that they are no longer targeting a 23 release, and the game has been delisted. If players wish to cancel their pre-order, they are invited to contact their retailer. They will be updated on the project as the development is moving along. It makes us wonder, is this troubled development ever going to see the light of day? I really hope so, because I'm a big fan of the franchise, but until we hear more, we will just have to wait and see. What do you think, Dan? Do you think this might be one of those things we never see, or do you think it'll rise from the ashes like a phoenix?
I'm sure we will see more Prince of Persia at some point. My experience of these kinds of maneuvers are there's been some problem with development or some changes of plans, or maybe the project wasn't going quite in the direction they wanted, so they're going back to a drawing board or changing studios or something to that ilk. And so yeah, it's just, I guess, tempering expectations, doing a bit of housekeeping, and yeah, I'm sure it will be back at some point. Whether that's going to be in the near future or in 5 years, I don't know. But yeah, I think it's too powerful a brand to just be shelved forever, and I'm sure there's some plans going on somewhere. I have no insight on like what's actually going. That's just my gumption is that yeah, there's some housekeeping, and yeah, we'll hear more in the future.
Excellent. I sure hope so, because I think it's such a great series. And you're right, it is big. And even if this project doesn't see the light of day, we will see Prince of Persia again. And I'm very excited for that. Next on the news, Square Enix, who have recently sold off several major studios and franchises, including Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, and Thief, to the Embracer Group, have stated that funds from the $300 million sale will not be used to invest in NFT or blockchain initiatives. This is a rollback from a previous statement which did indicate the opposite. The recently released financial briefing stated that rather than using the proceeds from the divestiture, thank you for that word, Dan, in new investment domains such as NFT and blockchain, we intend to use them primarily to fund our efforts to foster solid IP and to enhance our development capabilities in our core digital entertainment segment. This is the latest in a string of headlines of games businesses turning their backs on the Web3 hype in lieu of an aggressive response from games audiences who have loudly declared a distaste for the trend, following the likes of publisher Team 17 and Stalker 2 devs, GSC Game Worlds, who have all publicly canned their NFT-related initiatives. It's just seems to be one of those things where it's where the wind is blowing, right? Like when it was first quite a big thing, the NFTs and crypto, everyone wanted to jump on the bandwagon and try it out. It doesn't feel like it's quite working out for them, because now the popular thing is to hate NFTs and blockchain and all of that.
Yeah, as we've talked about on the show before, I think it is so interesting how, I guess, powerful the cumulative games audience and its voice is. And yeah, like NFTs, the metaverse, crypto is still huge business in many other verticals. You know, we've got players like Nike with their own efforts going on. There's lots of kind of big movements happening. But yeah, gamers as a general rule are just not tolerant of it. Certainly in its currently kind of portrayed form. And yeah, we're seeing these big game studios, big publishers backtracking on such initiatives. I'm sure there's more to come, and maybe there'll be somebody will get the pitch right and the content right and realize the right application that adds the right value at some point. But it's interesting to see how it's just different to all other industries, and you can't imagine many other sectors where the collective audience has that much influence over the behaviors of boardrooms and financial statements and these kinds of things. So I just find that it's kind of fun to see it play out, really.
And to be fair, like, I was actually quite surprised that these big corporations that obviously have put quite a lot of trust and money into these initiatives have been listening to players. So obviously there is quite a lot of kind of joint feeling that they're getting from people. And I guess we'll see, like you say, someone might figure out the secret sauce to make a blockchain game work for the game's populace as a whole. But for the moment, it seems like the wind is blowing away from crypto on this. Lovely. Those are our news pieces for today. Stick around to watch Ben Joy be a bee, a buzzy bee, and fly around various places with other insects. I think there is a wasp scenario in there. And after that, we will be back to talk all about marketing at events. Seeing as it's not E3 week, we thought that would be quite a nice segue into that. And we will be talking about all the tips and tricks and questions that you might have around that. Without further ado, let's look at some. I'm trying to think of a bee pun. I should have prepared this, but I don't have one. See the bees.
Don't involve me in this.
See you lot soon.
Hello and welcome to this Etch Play Checks Out video, and today we are checking out Bee Simulator. I was looking for a game to play that I didn't think I would need too long to get into to understand how to play it, how it works. I was flicking around and I saw Bee Simulator on sale for £3 or £4 on Xbox. I'm playing this on Xbox Series X, and I thought, why not? Who doesn't want to be a bee? And for £4, that's a bargain. So we're checking this out today. So this is a game that was developed by Barsav or Barsav. I'm not quite sure which is a Polish game studio. It's got a few different publishers, so it's been published by Big Ben Interactive, Oizumi Museo in Japan, and also Nakon in France. So a truly international game. So yeah, let's check it out. So the premise of the game is you're a newly born bee, and you're entering the world of work, as it were. So I'm a honeybee, apparently. I skipped through getting into the game very quickly, so I'm not sure whether I could have picked a different kind of bee or whether you have to be a different. You work through the different jobs, because I think you can do like a honeybee, a scout bee, and another kind of bee, and I'm not sure what the other one is, but. As I play more of this game, we'll find out. We won't find out in this video, but as I play more of this so the mechanics are pretty simple. You can fly around, collect pollen, you can do little tasks and things like that. So I played about 10 minutes of the tutorial before I kind of dove in and started recording the video. So you'll notice I'm not the best at flying. There's a few little cutscenes. It's like at the moment I'm not actually flying. I'm about to start a task, so I guess it's just giving me a little bit of a view of the surroundings around me. As you see, the game looks really nice. So we're in some undisclosed city, I believe, so we can see lots of sky and stuff, and see there's lots of other insects and bees and things flying around that you can interact with. So I'm sure we'll probably come across some of these as we go. I'm not really sure what's happened here. It seems like we're under fire. That dazes a bit, but I'm not quite sure what the point of that was.
About traffic, I need to be more careful.
Okay, just letting us know that we need to be
pollen.
aware. So you'll notice you name your bee. So I named myself Bean Joy. Really lean into the beep on there. I'm sure there was a better one. You can think of one, let me know, but that's the best I got. So, yeah, so the way this works is you collect pollen by flying through these rings. I'm playing this game on easy, so it might be a little bit harder on a harder mode, but you know it's quite a simple mechanic at the moment. You fly through, pick up the honey, the pollen, which you'll turn into honey. There's the ability to fly backwards, which is quite difficult, as you just saw me do there. So when I first started playing this, the sensitivity was really high on the controls, so I had to turn that down because I was just like nudging it and just basically going in circles, which was pretty difficult. So what you'll see me doing here is there's a mechanic in the game where you can turn on your B vision, and that helps you see things a little bit better. And then there's specific kinds of flowers that are different colours, and I think there are tasks which relate to that. So you need to turn on your B vision to be able to see that. So I'm a little bit unsure what to do at the moment. I'm just kind of flying around. 7 short. I thought they might have made it easy and just given me all 25 there and then just to ease me in, but there we go. There's some more. Let's pick these up. Oh, missed it. So this is quite a relaxing game. It's pretty chilled out. I'm not sure how chilled out the life of a bee actually is. It feels like it would be a pretty sweet life. No pun intended, because of the honey. There you can see it's because I've now got the pollen. The next task is to find the rare flowers. So I need yellow ones, which you can't tell they're yellow without putting the bee vision on. So yeah, I'm just gonna do that and fly around. I keep bumping into the ground. I haven't quite mastered the flying yet, but I'm still new to this. So I'm still a young bee. Plenty of time to learn. But yeah, definitely it gives you an opportunity to really explore the environment by not just giving you everything off the bat. It's quite difficult to see flying with that, actually. I'm just going to turn that off while I go. So you can see there's a few bits at the side. So the blue one, you fill that up, I think, by collecting things that are similar in a row. And once it's filled up, you can use it to do something called vitro. I think that's a pun on nitro, because it lets you fly a little bit faster. And the yellow one is obviously my pollen count. Let's have a look here. So you see we're in this park. It's filling up the world. There's picnics. There's people. Where are they? There's got to be. Oh, there we go. Crashing into the ground. There's got to be some yellow flowers somewhere. Oh, there we go. There we go. We can collect that. There.
Oh,
right.
there is
now
a
what?
bee over there, and she doesn't look well.
Oh,
I
let's
should
go
see if I can help her.
So it feels like it stacks the tasks up in a row. It's not kind of do a task, finish it, go drop stuff off, come back and do another task. You kind of start building it up. Right, let's see what's going on with this other bee.
Help getting back to the hive?
Oh, what? I don't feel so good.
Jackie does not seem in a good way.
Everything is spinning.
Maybe she's eating some bad pollen,
Oh,
some weak old pollen, been left out on the side. Alright, what are we going to do? Okay, we've got to follow Jackie. Watch out for obstacles and power-ups along the way. Okay. Okay, I'm not really sure what the difference is at how far away from her we are. It feels like we're close than that. Okay. Like, I'm not sure whether we're penalised for not flying through these green circles, but I'm going to keep trying to do it anyway.
I'm scared. What is happening to me?
Jackie's really not well. I'm not sure where she's going. Oh, little picnic.
Slow down.
It's helpful that it gives you arrows as well, where to follow, so you kind of always know when you're doing a task like this where you're supposed to go. When you're collecting honey and stuff, you're kind of a bit more on your own to explore the world. Where is she going? Oh, now there you go. Look at that expert flying. Didn't flip a thing. I'm getting the hang of it now.
Hey, come back.
I'm scared.
Where is she?
What is happening to me?
I see you guys saying that I can do some beta now because I filled it up. So if you're on the Xbox, you press RB and it helps you fly a bit quicker. I think I'm just going to save mine for later. Okay, here we go. Where are we at? So, flying through a picnic. What is happening here? Oh. A wasp. Okay, can we fly away from the wasp?
You nosy little bee!
So based on what the
You will pay
Queen
for
said
disturbing
earlier,
my
what's
meal.
happening here, I feel like there's a lot of tension between the wasps and the
Oh,
bees.
yeah? We'll see.
Oh, we're gonna fight it. That that doesn't feel necessarily wise, but okay. So let's see how this works. Kind of like a Pokemon fight by the look of it. Oh wow, that was terrible. Oh, I see what you've got to do. You've got to press the right button and the yellow line gets to it. There we go. Yeah, okay. I didn't understand first time. I suspect on a harder mode this probably moves a little bit quicker to make it a bit harder, but it feels like we're the ones putting all the offense here, which is wow, that was a killer blow. I think this might just about finish it off. Oh no, not quite. I feel like ever since I messed up the first one, it's got no offense in on me. There we go, job done. Victory.
And we're back. That was Bean J with Bee Simulator, which got a bit interesting towards the end with a wasp. I was holding my breath there.
Very exciting.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh so hard. Yeah, it looked like a lot of fun. I am quite a fan of bees, so I might check that game out, even if to feel like I can be one for a single day. And now that we're back, we can have a nice little chat about marketing at events. So, Dan, have you been to a games event?
Yeah, I've been to a fair few in my time. Definitely missed over the pandemic the lack of events and being able to connect with others in the industry, and yeah, it's kind of, I guess, bathe in the vibe of the excitement. Being in a room full of your peers with a shared interest is always good fun. Yeah. How about yourself, Ty? You're a bit newer to the industry. You've been to a couple of events. How do you find them?
I've only been to one industry event, but I haven't been to any gaming events. So I'm very excited for Develop, which I know isn't technically a games event, but it is games adjacent. And I'm hoping one day to go to all the good ones, GDC and all the expos, maybe E3 if it comes back. Rumours are that they want to be coming back, so we'll see. But yeah, I mean, game events have always been a really good place for the games industry to do big announcements and releases, with a lot of studios and publishers choosing specifically to wait until a particular event to kind of capitalize on a marketing beat. You know, you see quite a lot of announcements of big games and releases being made at an event with all the trailers and all the hoo-ha and I know all the fun stuff happening. But obviously, as you say, since COVID, the events industry in games and elsewhere has suffered quite a lot, with many last-minute cancellations, delays, permanent stops to some of the biggest events like E3. Many of them are choosing to become fully remote, or at least more remote friendly for safety reasons. So there has been quite a big shift in the last couple of years in how gamers and studios and publishers are experiencing these events. So I guess one question that gets asked quite a lot is, you know, with this shift, are events still a good thing for marketing, with so many of them choosing to become remote? In my opinion, the atmosphere is very different for a remote event compared to a live event, and the way that you market your game will be quite different. But yeah, of course, events are still a big thing. As we were saying this morning, earlier today, there are so many great events happening this week and next, and majority of them are still remote, and people are still very excited about it. And yeah, of course, events will always be a major marketing channel for studios that can afford them. That's, I guess, the caveat is events can be very expensive, but even remote, I think if you can get out there, get in front of all those eyes, it can be a really great boost for your game. What do you think, Dan? Do you think remote is going to kill the events industry?
I definitely don't think remote is going to kill the events industry. I think we've been forced to embrace remote the past couple of years, which has been very good for figuring out how to optimize. I don't actually think that we've nailed it yet in terms of how to put on the best remote event and some of the best hybrid event, but we've got a lot better through necessity over the past couple of years. Exactly as you said. I mean, if you are releasing a game and you've got to promote it, you've got to market it, you've got to do something, and an event is a great opportunity to do that. You've got a unified fanfare. You've got, if it's a large event, there's going to be a certain volume of audience. So being a part of that is great. But even for smaller events and for smaller studios, if somebody is putting the effort into getting even 50 or 100 people in a room, you're going to get a lot from being in that room. And now, having spent the last 2 years, even the smaller events are also streaming online, so you're going to get some visibility from it. So I definitely think it's worthwhile figuring out what is the right event for you, and getting involved.
For sure. And one benefit, I guess, from remote events now is also it really opens up the kind of people that can attend. Because usually, people would have to travel or they might not be able to afford it. There's lots of reasons why people can't make in-person events. But now it's as simple as just tuning into a feed, which is very accessible, and it's great that more people are able to enjoy it. And that means your game can be seen by more people as well, which is quite exciting. So, we agree. Yeah, events are still a big deal, a really good marketing channel. I guess one of the questions we sometimes get is, how can studios or publishers best use events in their marketing strategy? Because, there's a lot going on. There's all these different channels. There's all these different content types. How do we really make sure that events line up with our strategy? And as with any marketing channel, events can be as impactful as you make them. Just showing up with a copy of your game probably isn't going to cut it to get you the kind of goal that you want. You really need to think about your goals. And I think I say this in every single show I'm in. But it's so important to understand why you're marketing and what you're trying to get out of it. Are you going there in your early stages to play test? Are you trying to just spread the awareness of the game? Are you using the event as a really big marketing beat? The way that you prepare for all those different things will be different depending on what your goal is. And just like any other channel, events aren't a one and done thing. Unless you're one of the biggest games in the world and you could get away with just one marketing beat at an event. It's just one of the many channels that you can coordinate as part of your marketing strategy. And if I would give anyone any tips, please bring a way to register player interest in your game, even if it's in the early stages. You'll thank me later. If you go to an event and you show people your game and they love it, but you don't have their names at the end, you're just not gonna get the amount of impact that you could if you could get a newsletter together, or you can get like a mailing list or any that sort of thing. What do you think, Dan? Do you have any tips and tricks on how to best use events?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely sort of hit the main points there. You need to have a call to action, and I think that that scales with whether you are AAA announcing on the biggest stage, or whether you're a tiny indie attending a local enthusiasts meetup. Like, if you're showing a game, you need to have a call to action. So that might be to the website, or signposting your community, or it may be a sheet of paper where you ask people to write their email address on it. Whatever it is, make sure that there's a clear and obvious call. Like, what do you want this audience to do once they've seen it? And again, as you mentioned as well, this isn't a one and done thing. We so often see, like, especially if it's a big event and you're putting a lot into it, and you've got this trailer that you've been perfectly polishing, and there's always a stress at the last minute, get the final edit in and the clock's ticking, and you get this trailer released, and it's like, oh, big sigh of relief. And so many times we see it over and over again, and again in all scales of games organization, it's like, big sigh of relief, like, now let's get back and focus on finishing the game. And what you do is you get this huge peak of interest, especially if you've well executed it. But over time, people, not even very much time, like, gamers are fickle, and there's a million other things to attract their attention. That attention will dwindle. And if you've not got something to carry you between that announce or that trailer drop or whatever it is and your game launch, you're going to be surprised. And we so often be like, we see studios who've released a game like, yeah, but the numbers were great when we did the trailer, interest was high and engagement was great, but we didn't do anything for, I mean, especially in these days when delays happen, and it can end up being 2 years or more from that. I mean, we're seeing some games like 5 years from their initial announce. You really have to have a plan in for, okay, yeah, we've now let the world know, but what are we going to do in the next month and the next month, and just bridge that gap so you can just keep that interest and heighten that excitement as you get nearer to launch.
Totally. And, there are so many different events. Just going to one isn't going to be as effective as going to 3 or 4 or more than that, etc. An interesting question here. What is the best event to be part of for marketing? I've actually had this question asked to me several times in my short gaming career. Trick question. There is no best event. It really depends on a whole bunch of things, like your budget, your game, your fan base, your genre, so many different things. For a more niche game, you will always get better returns from a more relevant event. So for example, if you have a narrative game, something like Ludonarracon is a great place to go because everyone there is going to be interested in that genre specifically. Or Wholesome Direct that we mentioned earlier, if you've got a cozy little indie, the kind of people that go to Wholesome Direct are going to be much more interested in what you have to say. And even though you might get less eyes in total on your game, the conversion rates are just going to be so much better because you're talking to the right people. And with marketing, sometimes that's the key is, it's not about how many people you reach, it's about how many of the right people you can reach. Because if you get in front of 1 million people, but only one cares, that's one sale. But if you get in front of 100 people and all of them care, that's 100 sales. So it's really kind of simple maths, but it's something to keep in mind. But of course, if you are working on a genre or a game that is already well loved and has a massive fan base and you have the money for it, why not go to all of the events? Why not go to all the big ones? Like, no one's going to stop you. They're going to be great for you. What about you, Dan? I know it's a bit of a tricky question. What is the best event in your opinion?
Yeah, no, definitely the relevance of the event and the audience is going to play a key factor. Like I say, even on the smaller scale, like even a regional event, you're going to be able to have a connection. Oh, this game is made in my hometown. That's interesting. 30 people in a room, well, that's 30 people that you can get really good engagement with. And yeah, you're not on stage with 1 million eyeballs, but at these, like a week like this week, there's going to be so much content. And are you going to stand out from that noise? Or if you're one of 5 games on show at a much smaller event, is that going to be better for you? So yeah, definitely thinking about the audience is going to be right for you, and also you have to be realistic about the impact you can have. If you're even if you could get alongside the next AAA announce, like the volume of interest that's going to be surrounding that will just drown you out. So yeah, you absolutely want to think about the right people, the right audience, and also like these things do take a lot of time and effort and energy. It's like what is your, I guess, what are you sacrificing by flying around the world if you're going to an international event, and the time that's going to take you away from what else could you be doing with that time. So yeah, there's lots to consider, and yeah, you're absolutely right, there isn't a right event. There's probably there's going to be lots of right events, and there's going to be more right and less right, and then there's other activities as well. So yeah, just about weighing them all up and choosing what's best for you.
The great thing is nowadays there's so many different events to choose from that it's not just, oh, there's just E3 and you have to get into E3. Like Dan very rightly said, there's local events, there's genre events, there's so many different things. There's so much going on for indies specifically. So even if you're a small studio, there's something out there for you, and it will take the time and it will take some money, but so if you find the right kind of event, that can pay dividends, I guess.
And I think with that multiple events tactic, you won't necessarily know from day one. So maybe you do go to a few smaller events and learn, well, who does this resonate with? And then maybe that can inform your roadmap for your future event attendance, because you're saying, oh, actually, yeah, we get a really good engagement with a younger audience. So maybe we can look for events targeting more kind of child-friendly games and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And like you said, Dan, not everyone might have the money or the time to invest into events, because they often need quite a hefty investment of both to get dividends. And I guess with that, it is just a marketing channel. You don't have to do events. As Dan just said, you may find that events actually don't do anything for you. And you might say, actually, do you know what? The kind of people that we're trying to reach, they don't go to these events, they don't watch them. Actually, there's no point in us doing it. But the great thing about many gaming events, if you are someone who would like to still kind of take part in the buzz and the hype around events, but potentially not want to be part of them, is that they are often accompanied by people just being very excited around them. So it's always important to kind of consider what's happening around events. Is there a Steam sale happening along the event that you might qualify for, that you could put your game into? Is there a local meetup or something to do with the event that you can kind of go to? Could this be a good way to find games that are similar to yours that you could tap into their communities for? There's lots of different ways around events that you can get involved. Those are just kind of some of the options that I was thinking about. What would you say to someone who was maybe not wanting to be in an event but still wanted to, use them for marketing in some way?
Yeah, I think this is a great community management opportunity as well. You can rally your existing supporters and who are going to be interested. This week there'll be something that a lot of games will, their player base or people excited about their game will be interested in tuning in. So why not provide a space for them? Organize a stream to watch it and share your take on it, or provide some kind of gamified thing through a Discord or something like that. There's a term from sort of guerrilla marketing days from a few years ago called newsjacking. Like maybe there's an exciting announcement that you can put a little spin on and apply some of your character in that context, or just do it respectfully, of course. But there's an opportunity to kind of lean on that hype and that excitement and just put your own little spin on it. And lots of creative opportunities to have some fun with that. And also, I think being supportive, if you've got peers who are maybe being present, like show your support and alignment with them, because when it is your turn, you'll get that reciprocated, and people who are taking an interest in that studio or that title that's getting some fanfare, they'll notice you and your support and they'll appreciate that. You might get attention that way as well.
Yeah, very cool. Any lasting thoughts or musings on events?
I think there's a lot of opportunity in events. As I said, there's still a lot we need to figure out with running events, and for actually, like, we've organised numerous events, much smaller scale ourselves, and I wouldn't write that off as well. If you're looking to get some promotion and you're worried about being drowned out, like, why not put on your own event? Do something that's going to add some value to your potential audience, attract something. You can fill a room. Again, you can choose what size. You don't have to go and book out the Hammersmith Apollo. You could just find a local venue that's going to entertain 10, 20, 50, 100, whatever's going to be appropriate for you. I think, well, what might attract people here? What value can I offer, and use my game to help engage and entertain those people. So I think organising your own events just embrace it, have some fun with it. They are good fun. Great chance to connect, communicate with people. Great chance to gauge reactions to your game as well. People use events for player testing as well. Like
Player testing,
you can show everybody you know, all your friends, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, this is a great game." But there's a good chance they'll tell you what you want to hear. When you put it in front of a complete stranger, you'll learn a lot more about your game than you expected. So yeah, lots of value to be gleaned from it, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of, hosting your events, doesn't mean you have to do them alone either. I've seen some really great examples in recent times, especially where a bunch of different indies get together if they have a similar genre, and they'll just host their own events. They'll get a Steam takeover. They might do like a joint stream all together, and it helps you reach more people, but it kind of just helps support everyone on the same way. An example that I love with some people that I've worked with before is the Adventure Game Festival on Steam. That is, I believe, mostly run by HitSense, but it's kind of, it really celebrates that genre, and it gives lots of smaller indies a chance to take part in something that they might not have the time or the ability to host themselves. Go out there, make those connections, and it'll be so much fun. Like Dan says, it's just really joyful to be able to kind of show your game off, discuss with people, meet people that are interested. But again, you don't have to. It's just one of the many things that you can be doing. And if you tune back in with us next week and any other week, we will be talking more about marketing and the games industry and the latest news. And if you liked our news segment from this morning, we do a weekly roundup every Friday, which is tomorrow morning now, on I've blanked on our website.
It's etchplay.com will get you there.
/etchplay? No?
It's etchuk.com/play, or you can just go to etchplay.com.
There you go. I worked here for like 9 months, obviously.
Ever used it?
I don't think I have. I was Taya. This was Dan. We are from Etch Play, and thank you very much for joining us. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Bye.
Bye.
How long are we going to do that?
I think you should keep waving. Yeah, that's fine.